today we're going to be looking at the Primo Studio. It can be a very friendly tool to use if you know how to use it. Ironically, not straightforward figuring out how to use it. So I'm going to share my screen and kind of walk you through what the deal is with Primo Studio. So I'm here in Big Bend, although I went to my Carly testing view name. And here is the last tab, the Manage Customization Package. And this is where we do work where you want to upload a logo, change colors, add a libchat file code so you get your libchat pop up, etc. And go to Primo Studio is right here. And when you open it up, it always looks like this. And this is the default of the package that it's going to open up in. So if I download the current views customization package, I can then actually edit what is being used by then uploading that. Also, anything that I do in here is not getting applied anywhere until you download the package and then upload that new customization package. So Primo Studio is a place where you can play very, very safely because the moment you exit it, nothing is saved. So it shows you how you can, choose colors, change colors, and it basically goes live as soon as you hit the update. So we'll make it like really obnoxious. And then yeah, totally crazy. You can test a search. So I've been
Carly,
using this one on the test. Yes.
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So in order to make changes using Primo Studio, you have to have uploaded your package, your customized package first or downloaded?
Both. So if you make changes in the Primo Studio and you download that and then you upload it here, it will replace your current customization package that includes any other like icon choices you've made, the libchat code, etc. So if you want to use Primo Studio to make changes to your view, you need to download your current view customization package and you get a zip file and then upload. And of course, my Zoom thing is in the way. What? I did. Why is it being weird? Okay, hold on. I'm going to just start over because I think I messed with it. Okay, so I've downloaded, I go to Primo Studio, nothing is saved. I want to upload what my current one is. So I open that, upload package. We now see the Big Bend info in here because mine is just a copy of theirs. Now, if I want to change the primary color, um, maybe I want to, nice pale green. Um, I update the theme. Now, if I wanted to upload this to be my new view, I would download, get another zip, and then choose that upload package. And it says saved. And now if we go back and we go and we view, we'll see that crazy green. So as you can
Thank,
see, it's pretty hard to like accidentally mess up your
yeah, thank you.
um so now if we go back to Primo Studio, I can re-upload my normal and it goes back to that default. There we go. And one of the things that many people are not currently using, and one of the reasons that it could be nice to kind of play around with this, are more custom icons. So you have your library logo uploaded, and that's pretty consistent. But a library favicon, and a favicon is these little images that appear on the tabs. So if you have a simplified logo, like so if Big Ben wanted to do this B, you can choose that here. So if I go to, oh, no, it doesn't like any of my file types. So yeah, so it'll need to be saved as an icon. It's a thing you can learn. If you want to change your resource type icons and you have custom resource type icons that you have downloaded somewhere. The other place you can change icons, so if you're like, man, I really don't like um, you know, the style of the hamburger, I would like it to show that it can be expanded. You can do that. If you um, I don't know, if you're like, this is absolutely unreadable, back to search, not helpful. Maybe you want to change it to back. Um, so you can change out all of these. Now, where these show up has to do with the code that is associated with them. And that is where we would be looking in the, like, what is it? It is, nope, sorry. That would be under labels. Um, so if you were like, I really want this help circle outline to show up in this other place, you would search help circle outline. Oh, it's probably, this is what I get for not testing all of this and having specific examples. So here's all these. So you'd have to know what table it's in. Maybe let's try this. Okay, so it's not in that one. Um, User login labels, maybe. Hold on. And notice how here's So this has it with dashes, and this doesn't. Okay, just kidding. Not how you find it. So how do you find it, Primo? Because it was like, yeah, just search, blah, blah, blah. Um, so I'm going to continue to look into that. However, um, this is one of as we if when we add libkey to your primos, this is one of the places where you can make some of those customizations. Um, there are different add-ons as well, including a libkey browsing one. There's the unpaywall one. You can search for these. There are some neat ones that have been submitted by other institutions and users. So like date slider for their range facet instead of having to type it in. So if I'm like, yeah, I want to see what that looks like. And now if we search something, and we scroll down to date, it's clearly loading really well because of some color choices. But see how it's, wow, yeah, the coding on that's weird. But instead of having to type in this, you can play around with that. And then you're like, yep, nope, hate that. So just gonna remove it. And it will reload the page and back to being gone. Um, other search bars that people have. Oh, report a bug. Let's see what this looks like. See where it shows up. Aha, down here. Um, and so you're able to do that. A to Z databases category index. So if you're using the database search, if you have that set up in Primo, then you can also add this. I don't have this one, so it's not going to work. Um, but yeah, so you can play with all of these. Whereas if you were attempting to add these otherwise, you'd end up going to GitHub. You'd have to get the code. You would go to your view. You'd download your configuration package. You'd go or customization package. You'd then go into those files and have to add that where it says to add it, which doesn't always work. So one of the other things I want to show you is what that customization package looks like. Um, if anything goes wrong with uh, your customization, it's always nice to have a copy. So you could always just go in, download it, give it a date, and then you're like, okay, well, we know that if it gets messed up, we can up upload a new one. So here are the different files. You may or may not see these because that's from using Primo Studio. Your CSS is where some of the like color and logo stuff shows up. It's where the icon information is stored. So if you do end up changing icons, you'll see changes in here. You can also, but there's a lot in CSS that you can put in um, customized as far as how things are going to behave. Um, let me, chat's been, okay. So you can go to Primo Studio either, yeah, directly through Ex Libris, or you can go through your discovery and then manage customization package and then go to Primo Studio. Um, and I've always just gone through my own instance. Um, but the fact that you can get to it from anywhere is makes a lot more sense because it really is just a web-based design service. It's not live changing your Primo. So that's what CSS looks like. The HTML includes the default email template and your home page. And if you open, oh, it's going to open in this, but that's not, but it'll show you like this is where you can edit what your homepage menu cards are. Um, but you can also very quickly break them if you're trying to do it directly the um, in the HTML and you don't have the right code. The images include any that you have uploaded. So, like for example, this Big Bend favicon. So it's either discovery from the configuration or from the main menu. And then it is configure views. And then you can go into any view, edit, and then the final tab, manage customization package, and then studio. Um, so you can see if there's a favicon included. Okay, what else do? And then the final one is the JavaScript. Now, right after I got hired, a few people were having problems with their JavaScript and the facets because the custom JavaScript had not been updated to the latest release. Um, so the studio view is not your Primo um, view because it is a generic uh, interface and it loads the default from Ex Libris. In order to see your live Primo homepage, you have to download your current view customization package, upload the package, and here, and this will take us back to default and update theme.
I'm sorry, you did that really quick. So you
Oh,
download
sorry.
and upload.
Yeah, so your current view customization package has all of those different code files for anything like your lib chat, your colors, your icons, etc. The Primo Studio is really a completely like external. It's like going to Adobe Photoshop online or something. It's not linked in any way to your environment. They just have a link to the tool in here. So if you download your customization package, you'll get a file that has your view name and it's a zip file. and then you go to Primo Studio, you have to then go to upload a package. And it's two-step. Even after you choose it, you still have to hit upload package when you come back. Then, if you want to save any of the styling changes you've made, even just to work on them again, not even to make them live, but say you're playing around with something over the next months or whatever, then you want to download the customization package that you've created in this Primo Studio session, and that you can name whatever. And unless you upload it into one of your discovery views, that is just a set of code that's hanging out. So you can then come back to Primo Studio. When you come back to Primo Studio, it will be back at default, but you can upload that package you were working on that you've made some incremental changes on, keep working on it, and then you save it by downloading it again. Thank you, Kirsty, for getting all the path notes down. I think this probably deserves some actual documentation if people are interested in using it more. But what I realized was that I did not have any clue how it worked. So I went ahead and tried to figure out at least the basics so that the conversation was on the record. The other thing that you can do in here, which is a little beyond me, I think, but I'm going to teach myself, is you can work in basically the live code. So like I'm looking at my CSS and I have no CSS, but if you wanted to test out CSS, say you find something in GitHub that's not one of the add-ons, you could add that. So here's our CSS that is being used. And so, oh yeah, can you edit it? Yep, there we go. So I just edited that spelling. Not that it matters because it's a comment. And then if you wanted to, for example, so we've got clickable logo and display none. We can take that out and see what happens. Apply changes. And it double shows up, which is super weird. Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't want to save that. So I go here and I'm like, nope, that was terrible. I'm just going to get out of this session, and it doesn't save. Nothing saves. And then I go right back and I upload this again. Yeah, Jennifer, question about the favicon.
Yeah, so you showed how you can change the favicon icon. Do you know where you can change the text that is near the favicon?
This tab.
Yeah, so for example, when I do a search for the word dog, it says Ex Libris Discovery Dog, but I'd like to change that to like Pullman Library One Search Dog.
Yeah, I do know. It's not, is it in here? Gosh, what's it called? Um, where is it? I think it's in your CSS.
Okay.
And I would have to kind of like snoop around on a page that I know,
Okay.
but I'm gonna put a note in there, note in my notes so that I go look for it and then I can send it out as a follow-up.
Thank
So
you. I appreciate that.
yeah, that's one that it's often overlooked because it's not on the screen. Um, so multiple people may find that you do want to update that. Okay, tab text with favicon. Um, and a lot of the stuff in Primo Studio 2 really has more to do with aesthetics than some of the usability. When you're looking for like, hey, I don't want to include this or something, you might find the code for that in the developers network or in GitHub, but making sure that you enter it correctly in your customization package is really tricky. And that's where using Primo Studio and going into the editor and you're like, okay, well, it says I'm supposed to upload that CSS, here. Um, and then you put it in and you're like, oh, well, nope, that didn't work. And so it allows you to test things, not even in like anything that's going to live past the testing moment. Um, so like we've got all of the hovering stuff here. So like we can see we've got different cursors that show up. If you wanted to find code to keep the cursor looking the same no matter where it was, um, you could put that into the CSS and make sure that it is actually working and that doing it didn't disable certain buttons, etc. But you can see there's a lot of CSS. And if we open that up in, nope, I want to open up. Nope. Let's oh, silly. Let's save. Uh, okay, now I'm going to there. There we go. So if you're looking at the code in Notepad and you're not sure what you're looking at, it's really hard to make those edits because, Notepad is not a translator, a live translator of the changes you're making the way that Primo Studio is. You can, there is a way to like view it, but it's not going to make sense because this CSS is so specific to this page, and all it does is it loads the CSS into like a standard Chrome page. But yeah, so there's a lot, a lot and a lot and a lot because it's every single default and customized choice that you've made about your Primo environment. So the HTML we can open. And now I think this is really easy to edit as opposed to in Primo Studio. If you wanted to change the cards that are on your homepage, where can I get help? If you need to update your widget link, if you need to add links. This HTML for the homepage is, pretty straightforward. Happy to help if you're like, nope, don't want to touch it. The standard email template is one that, okay, Primo Studio said something about like, yes, you can edit the standard email template here in Primo Studio, download it, and then re-upload it to make changes. And I was like, that seems crazy. Because I'm not quite sure how this interacts with letters configuration. But again, I'll figure that one out.
What does the email template do?
Yeah, that's what I think this basically interacts somewhere with and it's just been going super slow this morning. With the XML, but yeah, like without a lot more testing, I'm just not sure. So here's that HTML for this borrower claim email letter. And then here is the template from the Zoom is in my way. Oh, I can move it onto the different. Okay. And so like we've got table in here just as presentation. And then over here it's got table style. So yeah, yes, and letter configuration, Nicole, I did a very brief letter configuration training. I'm hoping to do some more, like more of a series and specific, but there is a video on the YouTube, and there's a link from the main site. And that basically, that one more or less focused on how the XSL, the XML, and then any letter examples kind of interact. We also talked about this components configuration. And I don't know if it's the components configuration where it then goes back to this for table style. I really, I don't, yeah. Yes, finding out which letters are being sent. There's so many parts to that as well, because you can look and say, okay, well, this letter is activated, but then when is it getting sent? And then you have to find out where that is configured. And then you might even have to go into something about your mail handling or something like that. eLuna presentation on letters last year. I'll make a note to look for it and add it to my letters resources. The 23. I don't know what year we're in right now. Okay.
Yeah, 2023.
Okay. Yeah, and I didn't attend that one, so I didn't even know that that existed. Um, so if then statement. Okay, Nicole, you got what magic?
If then statement. So we check out laptops for our student government. And so I got really tired of answering questions because the students get a letter from the library, so they call the library, and they're not necessarily the best people to answer questions about laptops. So if the item they have checked out has a certain name, laptop, LLP laptop is what it is. There's a statement that's added to their letter that says, if you have a question about your laptop, please contact so and so. So it's really cool. You can do it for all
Nice.
sorts of things. Their examples were like, if they checked out, a video camera, make sure you bring back the camera, the case, and the charging cables or something like that. You can get really, really specific.
Oh, cool. I'll have to dig into that because
Yeah, we're
um
looking at trying to make our letters more equitable because they're really, I mean, we've made them less formal than almost default, but they're still really like not what we want
awful.
to, not how we want to communicate with our students. It's on the list, which is very long.
Yeah, well, and it's so tough because if you're working it on your own, um, it really it takes a lot of time and effort. And as much as they're like, oh yeah, there are these contributed XSLs, and then you go to like look and there's none. Like they like no one has contributed. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah, and
feel like that
it's
we could do a whole year
it's
on
hard to test
letters.
even because it's like even if it says it sends you a sample, I don't find that I really believe that.
Yeah, sometimes that doesn't work. I what we did learn was uploading a letter example for the specific type of letter was extremely um helpful in discovering weird coding. Um so uh oh, Kirsty using lots of if then statements. I'm gonna have well now I gotta investigate that. Cool. Um so
It's
uh
very useful, and I don't recall it being super complex, so it was very nice.
neat. Maybe the next uh, putting it down, more notes. Maybe that's our next letter topic. Um, um, yeah, so we're kind of looking at two different ways here where a a user interface, the way that we communicate, on the front line, whether that's Primo or a letter, Alma Strength is not making that easy to edit. Um, Primo Studio has some benefits. However, it is still not a what you see is what you get editor in the way that we would expect. I would hope that like if you highlighted the section of something that it would show you what's being affected by it. But that's not what's going on. Um, yeah, so like here's the HTML for this page, and it, it's like, okay, cool. Well, this is a huge amount of code in a tiny window, and it's not like I can click on here and it helps me change here. So if you have made changes and you want to make them live, you do have to upload the whole package because it has to be uploaded as a zip file. So if you've only made changes in one of these files or to an image or something like that, when you download this, it will download the full new package. If you are editing in a text editor, then you want to save it. And let me go to my file manager. So say we've made changes in this one right here. And now I want to re-upload it. What I'm going to do is delete the previous zip file. Going to click on this new folder and then on right click, and then you go down to send to, and then you do compressed folder. And that's why you want to delete the other one, because that way you don't get a weird O1, blah, 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 blah. And then you can upload this zip file. It will only allow you to upload a zip file with the view name. If you attempt to upload something else, it doesn't, wait, I'll show you. It won't work. So like say this package. Oh no, the package one works. It won't work if it's not a zip file. That's what it is. So like if you're like, oh, I just want to upload this, and we'd go to upload, it says upload file must be a zip file. Yeah, you end up having to upload many times because design is very iterative, but the only way to make those things live is through re-uploading. So it's not a great system. That's why if you're making lots of tiny changes and you're going to, downloading those incremental changes from Primo Studio, being able to re-upload them the next time you go in, keep making those tiny changes, then you're doing one big upload of changes to your live environment, or to a test view, even to be tested by an internal audience. Yeah, you're not having to go through. And again, like dating the versions, because if something goes wrong and you're like, which one was the last one that worked? If you've got that nice clean one that you can redo. I do recommend making a test view. It doesn't affect the rest of your environment. I should probably talk to Amanda about like this is hers, this is mine. I don't know what this one is. But the best way to make a test view is to look at your main view and just duplicate and then name it testing. At any point, if you do make significant changes to your main view, you can always delete your test view. Yep. And just do it again. So it's it's a good way to just have something to play around with as you kind of try things out. I also learned today that this default view selection is only applicable if you are in Alma and you're looking at a resource and you want to see in Discovery or view in Discovery or whatever that button is. It just sends it to that main view. So if you actually were trying to test different views and you wanted to push records to Discovery to see those, you might want to actually change your default view to your test view, so that when you're pushing that record to view in Discovery, you can see exactly what it looks like in your new test view. But otherwise, apparently the default view has nothing to do with anything. So that was a fun thing to learn. So yeah, so that's um this was, very, very top level. Um, the applications of Primo Studio are probably far greater than I've even kind of thought about. Um, I just I thought the add-on things was really interesting. I think there are actually more, but if you filter them, you can do something. Um, and yeah, get a contributor. I don't even know what these words mean. Um, but if you go to GitHub, there's all kinds of Primo codes that, if you're like, I want to play around with this, the only way to play around with this would be to put it into the code through this editor thing, and then apply changes. And that way you're not messing with your live environment. So, yeah, any other questions? I do appreciate all the good letters information, and I'm going to follow up on the tab text question because I know that I know it. I know it. Um, and I've probably just like opened a whole can of worms that now you're like, well, I'll just put that on an overflowing shelf.
So you said something earlier that when we get libkey installed, that we can make some changes to libkey through Primo Studio. Is that right?
Yeah, so if if you want to, when we go to do the libkey installation, like change your icons and stuff, um we'll be able, that code will be in your package, and so we we could also do it through Primo Studio. I think they said that it's more reliable to not do it. But you can see here, so if you want the like view the whole issue, if you want to change the text of that link, you can do that. If you want to change the journal link, if you want to turn off certain elements, um, if you want to change the text links for download PDF, you can turn off the this enable print records integration. You can turn off the unpaywall. So this one's cool. So they actually have this set up so that if you want people to know that they're going to unpaywall versus to like a vendor site or something else, you can activate this unpaywall option. So if you want to turn off all of those unpaywall options because you're like, yeah, unpaywall is rarely the version of record, and whatever, then you can come in and turn it off here. You can change text here. It doesn't look like you can change the icons here, but this would be one way after we get it into your code to be able to say, okay, well, I want to make this small change, and then you don't necessarily need me to make that small change. So
Okay,
if I,
that's pretty cool.
um, so yeah, and we'll all learn a lot more about that.
And speaking of which, what's the timeline on that? Is it like maybe next week or next couple of weeks that we might get that?
Yes. So, you, for those in the first cohort, which there are several of you here, Courtney will be sending welcome emails that kind of outline next steps as well as introduce her. She's the implementation person. And then, oh, thank you, Sarah. Sarah found the favicon label, and it's under config, discovery, and labels. And then,
Thank you.
so, so yes, so Courtney, you'll receive an email from Courtney. That's the welcome email if you're in cohort 1, letting you know that you've been like activated and added. And then oh gosh, Bridget, I almost forgot her name, will be sending the email about the training sessions. And she's going to offer 2 different training sessions. And these are primarily the like systems or e-resources training sessions. It's not like for librarians, like front end users just yet. Those will come. So she'll be sending out an email with those 2 dates. I believe it is going to be the this Tuesday at 10 and this Thursday at 1. So clearly I won't be there. I'll figure it out. I'll probably come to the Thursday one, but they will also be recorded. So if you do have to miss it, and then I also have some follow-up libkey meetings in our open call schedules so that we can discuss, or if you missed a recording, you can ask questions, etc. Cohort 2, I have responses from all but one of those schools, and so they will be getting their setup started in the next week. And then in like by end of the month, they'll probably get their welcome emails. We'll set up the next round of systems training. So yeah, it's going. It is going. Courtney and Bridget were both very concerned. Like, do you want just, like us to send the email to you and you can send it out to the librarians? And I said, no, like I want them to feel empowered to reach out directly to you guys. And so they will be doing that. They're just making sure that everything's in place and they've and their schedules are ready to help you. So I've
I'm
been
sorry, can you say those dates again? It was February 20th at 10 and February 22nd at 1. Is that right?
yes, February
Okay.
20th at 10 and the 22nd at 1, because
Great.
I said, hey, like this week, because my kid had no school and there's a it's the state board internet technology meeting day. I was like, we don't have any open calls. So if you wanted to use our meeting times, you're more likely to get our systems librarians who have kind of held those tentatively in the past. So, yeah, but she said she'd send him out today. I talked to him yesterday morning. So, I want to go to the, okay, labels. And the code was something, where is it? Header footer. Nope, that's not going to come back with anything, I don't think. Maybe it will. Nope. How did you find this, Sarah?
You
Okay,
just go to
down
label,
here.
you can browse to it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Number 35. And if we click on this, main title, here it is. I didn't go to edit, I just went to view. So yeah, there we go. There it is. So, yeah, so that one that you were talking about where, you want it to say one search and then dog, that would be brief title. And then the main title is the one that goes on this tab.
Great, thank you.
Yes, all of these meetings will be for the first cohort, Adrene, and then you guys will be in the next gear meetings will probably be first week of March, second week of March, somewhere in there. We'll look at kind of where we're at that point. So yeah, I think we'll be rolling along. I'm very pleased that everybody has, gotten on board and will be participating in this round of activations. SCC and SFCC, I've put you later because you guys are gonna be the most complicated, because of course you are. I thought Seattle might, but the way that Kirsty has set up campuses and like access as far as your e-resources was so straightforward that we don't have to mess with it too much.
Yay.
Yeah, so we talked through that because I was like, well, do we need to do da 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 da? And then they talked through the options and I was like, oh, yep, nope, okay, based on what I've seen on the back end at SEC, that's gonna be fun. So, but I'll be old hat by the time we get you guys going. So it'll be fine.
No worries. And if we have to switch some stuff up, we can always do that.
Yeah, no, I think we'll be able to get it set up pretty quickly, and it may just involve a little testing to make sure that we're finding all your resources are coming through the way that we expect them to. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. So they're used to dealing with far more complicated institutions. So, yeah. Okay. It is 10:58. We've already had a whole day in our house. And I thank you all for coming and working through this Primo Studio letters, libkey, labels. The UI is a deep well of customization that can go very wrong, but also has so many possibilities. So I was excited to learn a little bit more about Primo Studio and how we might use it in the future. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for some emails coming out. And I am going to get on to my next thing to prep us for our Alma training next week, which I tentatively have in mind as a Google Scholar publishing profile setup. Because if your Google Scholar publishing profile is set up correctly, then libkey will work even extra awesome. So, yeah, so now I'm going to go teach myself that. So have a great week, and I will see you all again whenever you can make it. And I'll get this recording up pretty soon.